Ripple to spend $1 billion to buy even more XRP off the open market to fund their new DAT, which is the digital asset treasury. Let's go ahead and explore what this means, where this XRP is going to be coming from. My first thought was, is it coming from escrow? Is it coming from already depleted exchanges? I have all of those details and more. We also have a new clip from Brad Garlinghouse. Actually, I've not seen this one before, and some additional new news about G Treasury that I just saw today. Let's go ahead and jump into all of this news and more. If you get value, please hit like, please support the channel. I'd really appreciate you. Nate Garassi, Ripple leading an effort to raise at least $1 billion to accumulate XRP. New XRP focused DAT, digital asset treasury, is a DAT. All right. Let's read through this really quickly. Ripple Labs Inc. is leading an effort to raise at least $1 billion to accumulate XRP in the digital token linked to the company, in a sign that the recent market turmoil has not stopped cryptocurrency heavyweights from pursuing their business plans in full force. The funds are supposed to be housed inside a new digital asset treasury, or also known as DAT, according to people familiar with the matter. The money will be raised through a special purpose acquisition company known as a SPAC, said some of the people, not of whom were authorized to speak publicly. Ripple will contribute some of its own XRP as well, some said. So what does all this mean? So they're raising this $1 billion, aims to become the largest XRP-focused treasury ever, channeling institutional and strategic funding directly into XRP purchases. The fundraising utilizes a special purpose acquisition company, also known as a SPAC, a structure typically used in traditional finance to pool capital for target acquisitions or projects. Ripple itself will contribute some of its own XRP holdings to seed this treasury, demonstrating its ongoing confidence in XRP. The plan is still under active discussion, with specific transaction terms not fully finalized. The strategic goals of this: by creating a DAT, Ripple will pivot from emission moderation, escrow-based supply management, to engineer demand, as institutional capital is directly injected into XRP accumulation. Ripple also recently acquired G Treasury for $1 billion. I did a lot of content on that yesterday, if you're familiar. Expanding its reach into corporate treasuries, a $120 trillion market. So this is a really big deal. Getting a piece like this can help Ripple compete against the likes of JP Morgan. This move positions Ripple to compete with large crypto holding firms and raise its profile for XRP as a serious bridge asset for global payments. And also, just to give you some context, because we have seen things like this before already with Ethereum and Bitcoin, and these are the results. Most digital asset treasury companies focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum have had some mixed results, with only a few achieving significant long-term success, while many others have underperformed compared to the holding digital asset directly. So Bitcoin DAT companies, you got MicroStrategy, you got Metaplanet. I'm sure you've heard some of those names. I'm not going to read all of these details for you. I just want to show you that this is being done already, and some of it is successful and some of it is not. Ethereum DAT companies, a Bitmine, and of course, a few others. And then DAT sector lessons. DAT companies collectively hold $100 billion in digital assets, but the vast majority is controlled by a few dominant players, which is Strategy, Metaplanet, and Bitmine. Those are the three big ones. So it looks like Ripple is trying to get in and compete with some of these companies. And so you do have Bloomberg even reporting on this story. It is a big deal. I wanted to take a look here to see how much XRP is left on exchanges, because if Ripple is in fact putting $1 billion towards buying more XRP, would it come from escrow? Would it come from the open market, or a little bit of both? It sounds like it'll come from a little bit of both here. Ripple Labs is raising $1 billion to buy XRP. Yes, yes, yes. Can Ripple buy XRP directly from itself or escrow? Ripple currently holds billions of XRP, both in liquid holdings and in escrow accounts that are released monthly. XRP in escrow is released in tranches, making some funds available each month, while the rest remains locked on ledger according to the preset conditions. Ripple can use newly released XRP for its operations or to sell on exchanges, but the company's standard practice has been to return unused XRP to escrow to new or rolling escrow. So What we've seen this year in 2025 is often you get the billion XRP unlocked, and almost every single month, Ripple has relocked about 70% of that, which is 700 million XRP. There was one month where it was a little bit less. Last year, it was 80%. They were relocking 800 million XRP when 1 billion was unlocked. So they're really trying to be a good steward of all of this XRP so they don't flood the market and really dilute our positions. The structure of their escrow makes it possible for Ripple to allocate released XRP towards their treasury initiative, but much of the buying pressure for their new treasury is expected to come from open market purchases. That's what we want to hear, ladies and gentlemen, which is more transparent and helps stimulate market liquidity. This is exactly what we want. We want even more buying demand off what's already a depleted available supply on exchanges. Now you throw in this, right? There are other companies. Let me just back up here. In my personal opinion, there are other companies that have been looking to do something quite like this. We've seen some companies trying to set up their own type of treasury operations, whether it's just to buy and hold XRP long-term, whether it's to buy and hold XRP long-term and to use XRP for payments or whatever the use case is that those companies are, but nothing on a scale like this. This could put pressure on other institutions that are wanting to do the same thing to hurry up and get into this, because usually the first people into a new kind of party like this will get the best terms, get the best prices, and the people that come in, late or at the end of it get the worst terms. So this could put pressure on other companies to rush in and do this themselves, which could be really beneficial to all of us. Best practices: historically, Ripple has distributed XRP through a mix of direct institutional sales, contracts, lockups, restrictions, and disclosures, programmatic sales on exchanges, anonymous trading similar to other market participants, and occasionally is holding and occasional holdings allocation for partners or internal needs. Ripple's programmatic sales have typically gone through exchanges, ensuring Ripple doesn't directly know who they're transacting with. That's interesting, which helps address regulatory requirements. So, no insider trading, no helping of friends, these types of things. Here's the regulatory and legal considerations, because I think that's also something at play here we need to understand. There are regulatory limits on Ripple's ability to move and sell XRP, especially with regards to large direct institutional sales, which may be considered security contracts under US law if they include specific investor lockups or marketing about profits from Ripple's efforts. Programmatic sales on exchanges, which are more anonymous, have been generally considered securities offerings. Buying XRP directly from their own holdings or newly released escrow is not illegal if properly disclosed and structured, but large market purchases helps Ripple avoid accusations of price collusion or non-arm's length transactions. Using escrowed XRP for business purposes is permitted as long as it follows on-ledger conditions. However, large purchases from open markets indicate a preference for transparency and for stimulating organic demand. I think this is a brilliant move by Ripple. You got the money. Let's start using it. Let's put pressure on the rest of the market. Let's have other institutions show their hands, right? Because this could put pressure on other institutions, like I said, to jump in, and we can start really seeing what the institutional demand here for XRP is going to be. This is a brilliant master move, once again, from Ripple. I did think this was an appropriate clip to have here. Digital Asset Investor did talk about this a little bit. He says, I find it interesting that Ripple sat and watched all these Bitcoin, Ethereum, DATs pump their own bags for the last year and did nothing. Then all of a sudden, when markets are crashing, Ripple announces a DAT to hoard XRP. Let me just play this so we get a little more context here.
Yeah, so I think Bitmine and obviously Strategy have been able to buck the trend that a lot of other digital asset treasury companies have suffered in terms of their price, especially relative to the net asset value of the holdings that they have. But do you worry that a broader bubble in the DAT space could negatively impact Bitmine if you see that bubble burst at all?
That's a great question. Maybe in some measurement ways, the bubble has burst anyways, don't you? I mean, if I don't have the numbers in front of me, but my guess is 80% of the DATs are trading below net asset value now. So if that's not already a bubble burst, in the sense that how would that bubble burst? Because, like a crypto treasury shouldn't trade below NAV unless it was captively held crypto. Because, if you're a crypto treasury and you're trading below NAV, you can take action to restore your valuation. You can convert to an ETF. you could return all the crypto, so sell it and return cash, and people would come out ahead. So I think that, like, I'm not even sure I want to use the word bubble burst, but like I would say, is the market becoming discerning? I think it already has.
Interesting. All right, here's a new clip for Brad Garlinghouse. Well, first of all, let me know what you guys think about all this. Is this going to help our XRP holdings, hurt? What is your personal opinion? I think this is a great way to help get some more excitement, help buy more XRP off of exchanges, and really bring down that circulating supply or available supply of XRP. That is really what we want to see go below a billion, below 500 million. If we get XRP, like if there's only a few hundred million XRP on exchanges that's available for trade, and we get billions, tens of billions of dollars coming in ETF demand, we will go to hundreds of dollars in price per XRP if you get those certain requirements. And I think this is a little bit about what Jay Claver talks about. So guys, if you like this content, please hit like, please show support on the channel. I get up every single day. I spend my entire, I'm awake from about 5:30, 6 a.m. to about 8 p.m. And I'm doing this 24/7 when I'm awake. So if you can support the channel, I'd really appreciate that. Here is a Brad Garlinghouse reminder. XRP is the heartbeat of Ripple. Let me play it.
We're going to see a dramatic change over the next 10 or even 15 years that are really hard to predict today, that are the foundation that will be laid upon that internet of value. XRP is part of the heartbeat of Ripple. It is the foundation of how we think about liquidity management, and a core problem that how the financial infrastructure works is around how liquidity is managed. Today, financial institutions are wired with pools of capital. They're called Nostro and Vostro accounts. And these are accounts that are pre-funded between financial institutions. And that's capital sitting dormant and not being used for either working capital or lending or what have you. By using a digital asset, you can enable liquidity in real time. This is transformational to how global financial infrastructure is wired. Every marathon starts with a single step. For us, the first step is getting financial institutions engaged and working with us, getting them to understand how the core technology with Xcurrent works, introducing how we can help manage liquidity. There's a lot of friction and cost associated with banks and financial institutions working with other institutions. We can change and accelerate how that works really materially, dramatically, and I think introducing XRP into those flows will take time, but as I said, every marathon starts with a single step.
Every marathon starts with a single step. I like that. We also seeing Patrick Bet David mention this. I did a whole video on this, specifically mentioning Brad Garlinghouse, how he doesn't feel like he's just some normal crypto bro. He's a serious, business leader here in the space. And I think people should really take XRP seriously, because at the end of the day, there is no other blockchain infrastructure company on the planet that has the connections that Ripple does. They're in the meetings with these central bankers. They are using and testing the technology at scales that we can't even fully comprehend.
Okay, I mean, that's a big deal to buy something like that at 1.25 billion. And the guy that's running it, I think his name is Brad. I can't say his last name. Yeah. He seems like a very intellectual guy. He's involved on I've seen him with the Trump administration, a couple different things with them. But he doesn't just sound like one of these guys that came and created a coin, hey, let's sell a bunch of stuff and then let's go. They're actually creating technology and buying technology. Good for them. So you're optimistic because you...
All right. There's 10 seconds left on the clip, and he's asking Anthony Popliano a question. Anthony Popliano seems really uncomfortable talking about Ripple and XRP. I just thought that was a pretty fun from that clip here. Plans within plans, says digital asset investor Swift GPI G Treasury. Here is another connection into Swift now through that. Ripple has a company, G Treasury. They just bought them, just acquired them. We just got that news yesterday, and they are hooked into 13,000 financial institutions globally. Some of the other companies, here is the 1,000 client list. So these are companies now that Ripple is connected to. So look, Hitachi, Boston Scientific, Pfizer, American Airlines, ADP. You got Canadian Tire here. Let's see here. Markel, Memorial Sloan Kettering, cancer treatment. It sounds like cancer. Microfocus, Palantir Technologies. Oh, okay. All right, Ripple. I see what you're doing. Accenture's on here. Bank of Australia. Guys, what do you need? There's so much incredible news. I'm trying to keep up with all of this news that's coming out, and it's just, man, XRP, Come on, baby. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. All right. I believe Ripple is the invisible hand. XRP is the virtual oil. Check this out. Some connections here into BNY Mellon. There's actually, let me see. Wasn't there a better, I thought I had a better clip here of this. All good. All good. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. This is what I want to show you. So liquidity directs integration with G Treasury's management workstation gives you access to capabilities of liquidity direct without leaving the G Treasury environment. This integration allows you to achieve greater visibility in G Treasury to your cash balances and more efficient utilization of your assets. How it works: trade is placed through GT using investment template. BNY receives your trade instructions via a template and invests in the investments for the amount specified in the template. Once G Treasury receives the trade confirmations, your portfolio is updated in initiatives, settlements, instructions, and BNY for the investments or the redemptions. So this is another connection into BNY's massive infrastructure. Remember, the repo market moves a lot through the BNY Mellon. It's a $12 trillion market. They clear anywhere from like $2 to $8 trillion a day through that market. Now you have another direct connection into these, Treasury. This is just mind-boggling. Efficient workflow, integrated payment, real-time transaction updates, and integrated reports. I think we're going to see a lot more stuff coming here in the future with this. All right, guys, you know what? I'll leave it there because, we're already 16 minutes in. Let me know what you think about all of this DAT, Ripple going and supporting this new ecosystem, $1 billion buying fresh XRP off of exchanges, maybe a little bit of the escrow too. What do you think this is going to do to XRP's price? Let me know down below. I'll see you next time.